The most important part for me to remember is, and for people to know about me, is that I am not in social media to be an influencer.
This is Beyond Influential, with Brittany Crystal. Join Brittany as she chats with today's thought leaders about the power of influence, how it's developed, and how they get us to consume both on and offline. Here's your host, Brittany Crystal.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Beyond Influential. I'm here today with Sierra Nielsen, founder of Your Soul Sexy. Sierra is a fitness influencer and a certified personal trainer and sports nutritionist who believes health and happiness comes from the inside out. She has an incredible story and message about self-love, resilience, and how to turn struggle into strength. Welcome, Sierra.
Hey guys, thank you for having me.
So let's start from the beginning. Full disclosure, I've worked with Sierra before, and I'm just super excited to see how her life has evolved. We met in a very different setting.
Very different. Chaotic setting.
Yeah, it's Brillstein Entertainment Partners, which is a management company in Hollywood. And
which, for those of you who don't know, if you just think of Entourage, like the agency in Entourage, we basically lived that life.
Yes, we did. It's the kind of life, I don't know how to explain it to anyone except that I had to ask to use the restroom.
Yes, you did. You were a grown adult that you...
Yeah, I was a lawyer, but I'm asking,
Yeah.
I have to go to the restroom. Will you cover my phone?
Yeah, it was pretty miserable. My time there was working from 7 to 9, going home, going straight to bed, and right back at it with 3 crazy bosses. So...
Yeah.
I don't know how we made it through.
I don't know either, but I'm glad we're here.
Me too.
So how did you end up in LA and Hollywood, and how did you end up now to where you are now?
Just a brief story. So I'm from Lincoln, Nebraska, and after I graduated high school, I went to Vanderbilt University in Nashville, and I actually started at Vanderbilt pre-med. I always thought I was going to be a doctor my entire life, doctor or engineer. And then I quickly realized that I just wasn't passionate about it. So I decided to go the psych route and managerial studies. And I actually was planning on going into consulting after I graduated. But my senior year of college, my mom got sick with stage 4 lymphoma, which kind of just threw my whole entire life for a loop. And I decided she went through an entire year of chemo treatments and then ended up needing a stem cell transplant. So it was kind of perfect timing. I went home after I graduated to take care of her, take care of my little sister. And once she was cancer-free in December 2009, I was just like, man, screw it. I'm going to move to LA. I'm going to go against the grain from what everyone thinks I should be doing. And I'm going to go find a job in entertainment. And I had no idea what that meant at the time.
I was going to say, what was the dream at that time?
I had no idea.
You were moving out. Did you want to actually be the talent? Did you want to be behind the scenes?
No, I didn't. I'm not very good at being the center of attention. I've never been my entire life. So I moved out here. I literally didn't know a single soul. I didn't have a place to stay. I didn't have a job. I ended up calling a Vanderbilt alum on my way out to LA, and they welcomed me into their home to stay while I was getting on my feet, which was so amazing, and they've become my family today. But I started at E-Entertainment for a little bit, and then I got my first job in scripted TV at a company called Fremantle Media, which, for those of you that don't know, they produce Price is Right, American Idol, all of those big game shows. So I was there for about 2.5 years, again, just still finding my way, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And then afterwards, when I went to Brillstein, a lot of my friends were actors or models, and I ended up finding a lot of my spare time helping them with their careers, whether it be helping them create show ideas or getting them in rooms with people that I had already connected with, because I was just like a crazy networker my first couple of years, which you have to be. That's, as an assistant, that grind is something that people don't understand.
I think that a lot of people outside of Hollywood don't know, especially with the assistant circles, like you're supposed to do drinks with people. Like drinks is a thing. Any assistant that you've had any kind of phone interaction with, I feel like it's natural for one of you to be like, hey, like, let's grab drinks. Yeah. And then you schedule it. And there are some assistants that it's like, you can't even talk to them till like 4 months out or something. They're like, I'm booked every day of the week.
Yeah.
But that's like
crazy.
expected.
Yeah, it is. You have to do that for a few years. That's what I was doing. But I thought I had this crazy idea that because I was helping all my friends with their careers that I could be a talent manager. So I got a job at Brillstein. I was only there for 7 months, I think. I quickly realized within the first couple weeks that that was not the lifestyle for me. And I also wanted to be more creative. And at the same time, the partner offered me a job to come work for her. I got another job offer to run development for a film production company. So I jumped ship and I went there to do that. And I was there for 2.5 years. But again, like, that's when it really started to sink in that I was not on the right path. That I was not in the right industry. I was not surrounded by the right people. It wasn't who I was. And I sort of lost sight of who I was.
I hear you.
You know, and my whole entire life, all I ever really cared about was helping other people and making an impact on other people's lives. And I remember even moments in being in entertainment where I was trying to convince myself that, I'm helping make entertainment and film and TV, which brings people joy. And it just wasn't doing it for me.
I kind of had the same rationale where I was like, okay, I want to help these people. If I can grow these people, like that is helping their careers, that is helping them personally. That makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But
we're just trying to convince ourselves.
Yeah, we're doing good in the world.
Yeah, so I left the film company and then started a consulting company with a friend of mine. We were sort of the go-between between tech and entertainment. But in the midst of that, actually a couple months after we had started that, was when my mom got sick the second time. So that's when I sort of jumped ship and went back to Nebraska, where I'm from, to take care of her. And then I moved her to Seattle for 6 months. In the midst of it, my nephew passed away, and then my mom passed away 5 months later. So that's when my life just really hit a brick wall, and I kind of fell pretty hard. And that's kind of what transitioned me after her death into this whole new world of wellness and being an influencer, which is such a weird thing to say. But yeah, it's kind of the path that I've taken so far.
So can you talk to me a little bit about Team Kathy and kind of what led to, I guess, your path as an influencer, like what you were thinking about, I guess what you wanted to influence, and then also when you started making content?
Yeah, you know what? I never even thought about being an influencer. It wasn't even a big thing at that time. My first...
For context, what year is this?
Context, this was, so I really started jumping into social media in 2014 when she got sick. And I did that because, so once she got sick for the second time, I just jumped into survival mode. And I was like, we don't have any money. We can't pay for this. I knew the expenses were going to be really high, so I started a crowdfund. And that's what Team Kathy, that's how that was born. And we ended up raising like $55,000, which was really amazing, which covered all of our costs for all of her care, that outside of insurance. But what was really amazing was the community. So my mom was really open about sharing her journey online, and we had started an online Facebook community to share her journey, all the ups and downs. And she's just such a positive, like, magnetic personality, even in like the darkest times of her life. And it was just really inspirational because there were thousands of people that started following her journey. People didn't know who she was, didn't know our family, and kind of rallied around us being so open and vulnerable about her journey. And, you know, a lot of people that are going through dark times like that, they don't have people around that are like a support team like that, or they don't have people that make them feel that it's comfortable to be open about really just being human and the stuff that we all go through but we're afraid to talk about. So I realized the power in social media, how I could really reach people and help people. So, you know, after she passed away, I took some time off. I took some time off to take care of my siblings because, quite frankly, it was so much easier to love them instead of turning that love back towards myself and really dealing with the pain that I was going through, until I just hit rock bottom. And I was in a really, really dark place. And I realized that I had no other choice but to get myself out and to finally start taking care of myself. But I had no idea what that meant, because I realized that everything I had been doing before to get healthy and to take care of myself was really all aesthetic. And I was doing what everyone else is doing for the most part, is they're attacking their outside to fix their inside, when it has to be the other way. We have to start internally. And I had done that before. Like I said, like before my mom got sick, I was doing this. I was trying to get in the best shape of my life, and I was doing this 8-week fitness challenge. And I did. I was the lowest weight I'd ever been. I was the strongest I'd ever been. But at the end of it, I ended up more insecure and more unhappy than I'd ever been before, because I went at it from a place of just wanting to fix my body. I didn't go at it from a place of self-love or self-acceptance. And I think those ideas are so broad and cliche, especially in the world of self-help these days, that people just don't actually realize their power, or they don't even know how to go about practicing self-love. So I knew that that was the one missing piece of the puzzle that I hadn't really figured out yet. So I had to attack that first. And that's what I did. I dove deep into self-help and self-love. Every messy piece of the way was a struggle, but you know, and that's kind of where, out of this dark place, is where You're So Sexy was born. And you know, it was born out of darkness, but also it was born out of a place of love and triumph. And all I realized after that was all I really wanted to do was help other people that were dealing with dark times as well find the light, just as I did. So that's how I created the program, and that's my vision for it. And then the social media part just slowly started to grow over time, and I just started slowly putting out content. You know, at first it was a lot of, I did have a male-dominated audience, because, you know, it started when I was doing that fitness challenge, and I had, for the first time in my life, posted bikini photos.
I was going to ask, so did you start getting actually interested in the idea? Obviously, like, fitness influencer wasn't a thing at the time, but were you like, okay, like, I want to start posting fitness content during the time when you were doing it, you know, just for aesthetic reasons? When
I was doing it just for aesthetic, and it was just a personal thing, that was literally just to document my journey to getting healthy and getting in shape.
The way people take pictures at the beginning. And
and it was like I was in the bikini, and I was like on the beach. And, you know, what most people don't know about me is my biggest fear in life is being in a bathing suit and being on camera. Like, it's just a fear of mine. Ever since I was young, like, I wouldn't be the person in a bathing suit. I always have a shirt on and shorts on at the beach, which is just silly. But so that was a really empowering moment, actually, to be on camera in a bathing suit. But again, like I said, I just ultimately, at the end of that, I wasn't happy. So after that, I continued with the social media and kept posting things, but started sharing more of my personal life. And I shared a lot of my mom and I's journey. And that's when my following kind of started to really increase. And it really came from being vulnerable. And it came from being open about her journey and her loss and what I was going through. You know, it's been a tricky thing since then, because I think people look at my Instagram and think that it's just fitness. So that's kind of where I've been trying to hone in more on my brand, because I don't want it to be just about fitness, because fitness and nutrition are just forms of self-love to me. And just they're small pieces of the puzzle, but that's what people see.
Yeah, I actually think that's the super interesting part for me about your brand. Like, there are so many, the influencer market, especially in fitness, is super saturated. So it's like, what sets you apart? But you're not doing, what I love about your brand isn't that you're doing it to set yourself apart. It's that it's a natural part of your life. Mm-hmm. It's actually what's going on with you, and it's actually what you care about. Yeah. So that comes out in the content, in addition to, you know, posting pictures or video regarding fitness, because it is part of your whole journey.
Yeah, I mean, that the most important part for me to remember is, and for people to know about me, is that I am not in social media to be an influencer. That's never been a goal of mine. My only goal is to take the knowledge that I've gained and the gifts that I have to share with as many people as I can, to impact as many lives as I can. So social media, Instagram, it's just a platform for me to help other people. I'm not trying to become Insta famous. I'm not trying to become an influencer. It's just a way for me to reach other people, to help other people.
I think the people that are trying to become famous, and this is a gross generalization, but when you go in, I think people coming in at this point who are like, I want to be an influencer, that does not work out.
Yeah, some of them, they're smart and it happens, or they came in early and had a massive following, but now it's pretty saturated, so that's tough.
But I think in terms of longevity, because if you come in with a certain goal and you're focused on a certain area, if that's not true to who you are, I don't think you keep that following. Yeah. I think you lose it.
I think that people are starting to become more attuned to authenticity. And I think that that's really what's going to set people apart long term, for sure. You know, I think people are seeing through the BS, and there's so many fitness accounts. There's so many Instagram model accounts. So now people are looking for real value. And I think that that's what's really going to win overall. So
did you have an ideal audience coming in? Obviously, it was shifting. When you first started, were you like, okay, I just want to put out fitness content? Like, how long until you were like, okay, I need to reevaluate? And how often are you reevaluating?
Oh my God,
we're getting real.
All the time. Because when I first started this, I wanted to put out what I wanted to put out. I wanted to put out all of it. At first, like even when I started Your Soul Sexy, this is one of the biggest mistakes that I made was I wanted it to be about fitness and nutrition and self-love and travel and like, way too many things. I mean, those are all things I love, and I'm sure other people love. You just gotta hone in. So for me, but I couldn't get past. Yes, I wanted to do. For me, it was really just self-love. And nutrition and fitness are two big forms of self-love, because ultimately, no matter what goals you have in life, no matter what ambitions, no matter who you want to be, you can't be that best person, and you can't get to that vision unless you're actually taking care of yourself, mind, body, and soul. You can, but you'll get there quicker if you take care of yourself internally. So I was at first I was putting out fitness stuff, and then I was putting out a lot of recipes. People didn't engage with recipes wasn't that great, but I loved them. So I kept doing it, and then I think my toughest thing is like really getting through the personal development, self-love stuff, because then you attract an audience that just wants fitness stuff. So it is trying to find a balance between all three and making them work, because I'm more passionate about the personal development, self-love stuff, but I know that there are people currently on my Instagram that want more of the wrong form, right form videos. And
do people feel really open about DMing you and telling you what they want?
Yeah, all
do you
the time.
ask what
I
they
ask
want?
them. I'm getting more into that. For instance, I've never done a live. I need to start doing lives to really, really talk to people.
We should do a live right now. We'll do a live right after this.
But you know what? Honestly, I will say I deal with fear all the time. And that's one of my fears. My fear is I'm going to get on live and no one's going to come on live with me. But there's so many things that I still deal with when it comes to fear and having courage to overcome that. I know I just need to do that. But also there's just a million different things to do when it comes to social media. But yeah, I poll them and I just recently did a survey to see what people are really struggling with. And that was really interesting to me because, especially on the self-love side, I don't think people were expecting me to address the self-love stuff. But I found this really interesting. On a scale from 1 to 10, I asked the questions, do you believe in the power of daily gratitude? Do you practice daily gratitude? And then I asked, do you believe in the power of self-love? Do you practice self-love? About 75% of them said they believed in it. Only 9% on the gratitude and 10% on the self-love practice it. So that to me is a problem that they don't even realize that they have. Yet that's the thing. People continue to, the people that are following my account, the people who are going to probably buy my program, they probably don't need my help on knowing what a healthy diet is, how to exercise. I'm sure most people have given themselves an informal PhD on being a personal trainer, being a nutritionist, because we've all done so much research and there's so much information out there. But we all continue to struggle. And yet we are still one of the most overweight, unhappy countries in the world. So what are we missing? And I truly believe that missing element is self-love and self-acceptance.
Do you think Instagram's part of that problem and social media is part of the problem?
100%. Oh my gosh. I mean, that one of the other reasons I started Your Soul Sexy was it was kind of at the height of Instagram booming and all of these young women being catapulted to fame, seriously just for being Instagram booty models. And for me, it was so tough for me to watch because I don't see that as beauty. And I really wanted to have a meaningful conversation about what was really beautiful and what was really important and bring people back down, because not only did I not believe that was beautiful, but it was also enhancing our society of wanting to be, being perfectionists.
I definitely think there's, something going on with, and listen, I watch, however you feel about the Kardashians, there's definitely something with the young people now getting, lip injections and at 16 and their parents thinking that that's okay. And it's definitely changing the way we view ourselves. So I think
we're obsessed with perfectionism.
Oh yeah.
And
you can make yourself look
image.
perfect.
Yeah. It's like the other day I was just standing in line at Whole Foods and I was looking at the magazines, and probably 90% of the headlines had to do with body. We're so, as a culture, so focused on body and looks. And, the problem is like perfectionism is not a healthy thing.
Nope.
And it ultimately just ends up backfiring, and you end up becoming depressed and more unhappy. And that is one terrible thing about social media. It's a difficult thing. I have a love-hate relationship with social media, like most people do, because it is creating that culture and creating a culture of comparison, which is really unhealthy, along with perfectionism. And, that's why I think it's important for people to really start having those conversations. And there's a fine line between body positivity and being in it just for your body. There's a lot of people that are out there still doing the Instagram booty thing and just putting inspirational quotes below their photos. And I'm like, is that real? Is that authentic? Or are you doing this because someone is expecting you to be that way? For me, I'm like, if that's what you want to be, just own it. Own it. Like, I've worked hard for this body. Look at my beautiful ass. Like,
Yep.
Not like, here's my ass and here's an inspirational quote. No, just own it.
And we're going to talk about it, and we can talk about it.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about it later. But how often do you feel the pressure to be that person, to
All the
put out
time.
those pictures?
Well, it's gotten better.
Yeah.
But especially when I first got into it, and I think I was at like 70,000 followers last year, and people were like, all these girls were growing really, really fast. And I had people around me constantly just saying, Sierra, you know what you could do if you really wanted to catapult your followers. I'm like, I don't really care about the followers that much. And I was so clear on who I was as a person and who I wanted to be.
It would come out that it wasn't true to you.
I mean, I'm not going to come out with a self-love program and personal development program and then my social media just be flaunting my ass.
And let's talk about it for a split second. Are some of those people that you see out there, they're not real?
They're not. No, not
Yeah.
everyone's real. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of plastic surgery going on. There's some butt injections.
Yeah, I feel like it's so obvious that that's happening, but
Yeah.
people don't want to see it. They want to see this thing that it's unattainable.
Yeah.
It's unattainable without paid for
There's
help.
actually there's a photographer, videographer who's really famous in the business, and he's become a friend of mine. And if you I won't say his name right now, but this is just an example. If you follow him on social media, and he's not afraid to show what he's doing to the photos and the videos in his Insta story, I'm like, no, why are you doing that? Like, I'm just trying to like match these women to what they look like on their Instagram, and the amount of photoshopping that goes into, people just need to remember that what they're seeing on Instagram is not always
lighting,
real.
it's angles,
It's
but not to
so
take
much.
anything away from the
Yeah.
people who actually do. A lot of those fitness people work
Oh, so many
hard.
of them are working 10 times harder than I am.
And also
when
just-
it comes to,
And I want to talk about this. You are a certified trainer. You're not just someone who looks good, who's like, you should follow my fitness plan.
Yeah, well, you know what? I have a deep sense of responsibility when it comes to educating others, and that's my problem. I know it is actually. I'm one of my girlfriends, Jen. She's a physical therapist, and we have this conversation all the time. We just have a sense of responsibility. We want what we're putting out there to really help people. When it comes to the fitness side, I don't want people to get hurt. I actually care about their health and long term. But at the same time, the people that aren't certified, if you're promoting yourself as being certified, then that's a problem, I think. But I genuinely think that the people that are out there that have huge followings that are doing the fitness thing, I think they're just, I'm proud of them because they're getting people moving and they're inspiring people to be healthier. And to me, the more people that we have out there doing that, the better. It's just if you are promoting that you are a certified trainer or you're this and this and that you're not, then we have a problem. But, for the most part, I think that, get people moving, inspire people, and that's what it's all really about.
So when did you realize that this could be a business? And when was the first big brand deal, and how did that kind of happen?
Well, I actually, man, what is it? It's October. So I didn't actually become a trainer until last September. So I've only been doing this for a year. I took the summer after the year after my mom passed to become a trainer and to get my fitness nutrition certification, and then start Your Soul Sexy, and then started training people. And that August, before I did, I had a moment where I was like, Sierra, what the hell are you doing? You know, when I was working in entertainment and I told people that I wanted to leave and go into wellness, I had so many condescending remarks from people being like, oh, what are you going to do? Be a personal trainer? And I'm like, well, yeah. But I always knew I wanted to do something more. And I had those people's thoughts stuck in my head. And I almost gave up. Literally just after I passed my exams, I had a moment where like, what am I doing? And then, you know, the universe does amazing things and keeps you on the path that you're supposed to be. And a friend of mine who I'd become friends with on Instagram, who works in influencer marketing at Reebok, had reached out to me and said he wanted to meet up when he was in California. And I asked him what he was coming for. He said he was going to Revitalize, which is the Mind Body Green summit. And I told him, oh my God, I would love to go to that. And so he said, I'm talking to the head of Mind Body Green in 2 weeks. I'll see if there's room for you to come. And this conference, they invite 250 of the world's top wellness leaders and inspiring new people shaping the fitness world. And so I was like, great, that sounds awesome. Let me know. And then literally the next morning at 6 a.m, I got an email from Jason inviting me to Revitalize. And not only that, after we talked on the phone, he agreed to pay for me to go because he was so inspired by my story. It was funny because I told Andrew, the Reebok influencer marketing guy, that I got the email from Jason. He was like, what? I never talked to him. And I was
awesome.
like, what? How in the world did that happen? And just happened. Jason found my Instagram within that 24 hours of talking to Andrew and found my website, saw my story, and felt compelled to invite me. So at that moment, there was one of those moments that kept me on path. And then 2 months later, I was at the point where, you know, after I lost my mom, I had taken 1.5 years off to not only take care of her, but take care of my siblings. So I came into deciding to be in wellness completely broke, $40,000 in debt. I had to move out of my home. And thankfully I had friends that took me in. I lived with them for about 9 months. And so after that Revitalized thing, about 2 months later, I literally had no idea how I was going to pay my bills. And seriously, I think I had like $25 in my bank account, and I had bills due in a week. And I was freaking out. And I just remembered some of my friends that always told me that, you know, just like trust, believe in the process, the money will come. So I let it sink in. I meditated for the first time. I'm not a good meditator. And literally 2 days later, I had an email from Cycle Media offering me a deal with Nike. And I was blown away. I literally thought it was a joke. Then Nike was coming to me offering me a deal to be one of their Nike athletes. It was a social media content deal. And, you know, and that was my first big deal. And so I signed with them for about 6 months, and then, and that was great. And then I signed with another company called Orgain and was creating content for them. So, you know, things happen just the way they're supposed to, and the universe will, as long as you remain positive and stay on track. You know, it's not so much like positive thinking, it's remaining positive and continuing to act on that. And that's what I did. I just kept pushing, and things just kept happening and falling into my lap. And so that's, you know,
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So a few questions on that. First one being, did you know how much you were worth at that point? Like,
no
how
idea.
does this? Because I feel like that's the biggest thing. And I know the space is super in flux. Brands don't fully know what they should charge. Influencers don't fully know. I mean, just being in the space, you know, you kind of try out different things, see what you can get from people, see how it'll work. But yeah, when do you currently feel comfortable, or you're still even working it out now?
I mean, I'm still kind of working it out. Back then, I had no idea. I had done my first couple deals through a couple online marketing platforms. I think if you're in the influencer space, there's one called Revfluence and Tapfluence, and there's these companies that exist that you can log on to, input your social media, and then other brands can connect with you. So I'd just been doing some of those. The first thing with Nike and with Orgain, I had no idea. So thankfully, I had a friend who was a talent manager for influencers who was able to help me with the deal. And I'm not allowed to say how much I made, but it was 5 figures, which only having 70,000 followers was really great.
Yeah.
I was like, holy, you're going to pay me 5 figures, you know, for one social media campaign.
Really?
It was just producing 4 pieces of content for them.
And knowing what I know now just about influencer marketing, yeah, that's a very good rate.
Yeah.
But depending on what you can deliver, maybe it's a super fair rate.
Yeah. I mean, things are so in flux these days, especially because back then it was so much just about your numbers, and now they really look into your
They're trying to look into engagement and analytics.
Yeah, and Instagram, who knows? Nobody knows what's happening with the Instagram algorithm, really. So everyone's constantly testing it out and see what's happening. But for anyone that's out there that's trying to be an influencer and not sure, this is the general rule that I was kind of given by some social media agencies and managers, was that it's $100 for every 10,000 followers you have. And that's a fair rate, considering you do have a good engagement and good following. But you just kind of have to.
Yeah, that was definitely the rule of thumb, like, that I was following.
Yeah.
However many, even like 2 years ago, which is like a lifetime in influencer world.
Yeah.
But yeah, it also depends on your engagement. And now people are getting wise to that because you can.
And that's the thing. I think you have to really understand your value and be smart when it comes to your deals. And I think the brands are starting to be a little bit smarter too, because the social media world is so addy and people know that. So it's like, for me, I only work with brands that are already organic to my life.
I was going to ask, how do you pick them out now? And do you try to, I know there's all these rules now with hashtag ad, and can you ever just work it in organically, or that's not even legal anymore? You have to definitely disclose if you are getting any form of payment.
Well, there are some companies where I've produced content for them.
Okay.
So it hasn't been an ad. Thankfully, it's content that I want to use anyways, and I didn't even have to include the product in it. So it was content that they just wanted me to produce for their channels, whether it be fitness or wellness or something. And so I really like those kind of deals. I don't do a lot of ad stuff, to be honest. Have
you ever hawked anything that you regret? Like, you don't even have to name them.
You can see it on my account if anyone really wants to look, but I was guilty of it in my first year. I did a fit tee. I did one fit tee.
Okay, just let's just do it for the audience. Did you actually try it? Did you actually try it?
You know what? I did try it. And the only reason I decided to do this one, because their tees were actually like really good tees, and it wasn't skinny fit tee. It was energized. They had like stuff that was actually for stress relief. So it wasn't, I can't even remember the name of the company, to be honest, but it wasn't fit tea or skinny detox tea.
See, here's the crazy thing is, like, those things might actually, well, I love tea, but those things might actually work, but because of, I guess, the way it's been proliferated, it doesn't feel like it works. It got to such a saturation point that it feels like they gave it to everyone, and everyone claiming that it worked, that it doesn't feel right.
The detax teas, most of them are laxatives.
I was going to say, that's honest. What it is.
And the thing is,
that's been around forever.
They've been around forever. And also, you can go take, I don't even remember the name. There's, pick them up at Whole Foods.
There's all sorts of detox teas.
Yeah, Smooth Move.
Yeah.
No, but, for me, it was more about those products represent quick fixes. And that whole world of, like...
That's definitely not going with your vibe now.
The slim belts, the diet pills, that's not. Mine's all about real wellness. So even the tea that I did, it wasn't that big of a deal because I was promoting relaxation tea.
Okay, so I want to talk about, and we've talked about this before, being an influencer, in quotes, is super hard work. Whether it is your, like, almost full-time job working into it, whether you're trying to get started or whether you're actually a full-time influencer. I think people don't realize that it's more than just taking some nice photos, that it's real work. It's a full-time job in itself. You work in addition to doing all this stuff. So I know there's no typical day, but can you explain to people what a typical day looks like so they don't think that it's like, hey, you do whatever and then you post a picture on Instagram and go to sleep?
What's funny is literally yesterday, what people don't realize about me is that I respond to a lot of people on Instagram, people that don't even know, like, it doesn't even have to be on my account. There was I just did a pumpkin patch workout that Self magazine shared, and a girl commented something really nasty on it. And I don't know why. It's not, those people making nasty comments don't really affect me, but I kind of hurt for them. And I know that they're going through something. So I messaged her, and her messages back were really rude. And she basically was just like, I told her, whatever you're going through, I'm sending you light and love, because I could tell that there was something deeper happening. She was a young mom, and, she was like, yeah, life is really, really difficult. If only I was beautiful and all I had to do was worry about working out,
Ugh.
That was just a small part of what she said. And, there are two parts of that really hit me hard. And that's that her life would be easier if she was beautiful. She was beautiful, but that's also a huge problem. I think that just because you're beautiful doesn't mean you have life easy, and you know nothing about me. You don't know that my entire life has been a struggle. You don't know where I am right now. You don't know that when you look on my Instagram, I am a happy, positive person, but I'm happy and positive despite all the struggles that I'm going through, because I have a rare perspective of just how lucky I am to be here. And what people don't realize is, yes, I get up at 5:30 in the morning. I have clients that start at 6:30 or 7. I'm with clients half the day, and then I've got to deal with my own stuff. I don't come home until 3 p.m. being with clients, having gotten up at 5:30, and then I've got a business to run.
And then you're making content. You're thinking about products.
Oh my gosh, I'm just now getting back to my website and my blog posts. I want to start a YouTube channel. I'm working on my 8-week program, which, so many people are like, Sierra, just get it out. Just do your fitness program, do your nutrition thing. But mine's 50% personal development and self-love. So it's and I dive deep, and I really care about the products that I'm putting out. And I really want to help people. So it's a full-time job. I mean, I don't have free time.
Trust me, I get it. Even just with the clients I work for, it's a full-time job putting out content, to do it right, to do it strategically. And actually, the story that you just told reminded me, I actually had a guy who works in the space that I do, helping people grow their brands, their personal brands. And he said to my face, he was like, oh, well, I'd have just as many clients if I had boobs. Yeah. And I was like, I can't believe somebody would say that in this climate, to my face. Yeah. And I just ignored it and went on with my day. But that's still there. And it's like, you have no idea how hard it is to work and to build up your reputation. Yeah. You actually need to put something behind it. It's not just a picture. Social doesn't show the whole thing. Yeah.
So many people are judging based off face value, and they're also judging based off of pitting themselves and feeling like they got the short end of the stick. Well, then here's the reality. There's no short end of the stick. If I had believed that growing up, I grew up super, super poor. My family and my mom was a single mom before. We grew up on welfare. She was putting herself through college while raising 4 kids and having a baby in the midst of it. We didn't have any money. My mom, until I was 16 years old, was only making $25,000 raising 4 kids. If we had thought that we got the short end of the stick and felt that way, like this young woman thought when she was messaging me, we would never be where we are today. Because the most important thing that my mom ever taught me was that you are not your circumstances, and that anything that happens in your life, whether good or bad, is an opportunity to learn and grow from. And it's how you approach those circumstances that define who you are. And literally since we were about 3 years old, that's something that my mom has instilled in us forever. So it's something that has really, really stuck with us. But yeah, people see on social media and they don't realize just how much work and how much heart is going into it. So, it's difficult when people are so negative on social media, but a lot of people use it as an outlet to get out their own issues that they're dealing with. And so you really have to understand that it's never about you.
Yeah. So what's been the hardest part then of kind of putting your brand together and building this audience?
Oh, all of the pieces that have to go together, from the content to posting to engaging to, doing the blog and figuring out how to make it grow. Right now mine is mostly just Instagram. So I'm trying to figure out other platforms. I'm going to start a YouTube channel, which, oh my God, that's so much work. To the YouTubers that are doing it right now, you're doing amazing. But again, that's their full-time job, And so my goal is to eventually get away from personal training entirely so I can focus on it fully. But it's managing all the pieces and learning. I didn't know any of this. I don't know how to make a website. I didn't know how to make content. I know how to use it, do photography or videography. So there's so much that you have to learn by yourself how to do. And I've been teaching myself the entire time.
The most successful influencers I've spoken to have been people who, they figure it out themselves. Because you don't, unless you come from money right away or you have a ton of expendable income, you're not, you can't hire a bunch of editors to follow you around and film you and then edit it. And you have to do it yourself.
Yeah. Well, you know what? And it's such an interesting space because it's so competitive to the point that most people don't even want to help each other. And that's the one really frustrating thing. And I've been thankful to find some really amazing women and friends in this industry that have been able to say, you know what, this is what I did. I went through the trenches for 7 years. Let me tell you what not to do and help you so you don't have to go through the same thing. But there are a lot of people that they don't want to give you their secrets or stuff, their advice. And, because then you just become a threat to them. You become competition. But there are 7 billion people on this planet, and there is room for everyone to succeed. And not only that, but like if we're all genuinely out there trying to help people, then the more the merrier.
Yeah, we talked about this. Success is not a zero-sum game.
No.
I don't know why people think that like there's like 2 people out there interested in fitness or brand building, and so you need to like make sure that you lock them down.
Yeah.
Because not that everyone's saying the same thing, but a lot of people are saying the same thing or similar things. Mm-hmm. And just different ways resonate with different people. I might not like the way somebody else approaches something, and I might not understand what they're saying, but I might love the way, this woman says it. And so I'm her fan.
Yeah. We all have something unique to bring to the table, 100%. And that's the thing. Most of the information is the same as it should be, little discrepancies, but it's really people fall in love with you as a character.
It's who you are.
Yeah. So there's room for everyone.
So what's the most successful thing you've done in terms of like community building for your own stuff and getting the word out there, distributing your content?
So far, again, it's only really been Instagram, but the best thing I think that's really helped me is not only being vulnerable and open. If anyone were to look through my social media and actually look at my captions, I tell a lot in my captions about my story, about my struggles. I'm not afraid to share it because, kind of back to the beginning of the conversation, I think one of the most important things is being authentic and being open to sharing what makes us human. And that is what we're struggling with. That's some of the darkness. One of the biggest problems I think in our society is, especially when it comes to experiences and emotions, that we are thinking in a black or white, all or nothing mindset. That, for me, I was afraid. I put on this strong face for so long because I was afraid of letting people know that I was depressed, that I was still dealing with grief, that I wasn't doing well, but I realized it's just because society has told us that that's not okay. But why is that not okay? Because in my opinion, I think those are the most beautiful things about people. I think that the struggles that you go through and those feelings that make us human are truly what connect us. And connection is really why we're here. So why are we all constantly hiding the most beautiful parts about ourselves and closing ourselves off to real joy and real love? So that's been one of my main things when it comes to my social media is always just being super authentic, sharing my stories, connecting with other people. And that's what my DMs are about. Especially when I lost my mom, I had an outpouring of people DMing me saying that they're going through the same thing. Their mom or their dad is undergoing treatment right now and they don't know who to talk to. Thank you so much for being vulnerable because I didn't, we all want to know that we're not in it alone. And so remaining authentic, but also, for me, also just engaging with them. And I can't even tell you how many times I get people that I message in the back, oh my God, I can't believe you're messaging me. You have so many followers. I'm like, not really, I don't. But I genuinely care about each and every one of you. And I genuinely want to help each and every one of you. And so, God forbid I get to someday a much larger following, but right now it's putting in the time and being able to connect with everyone as much as I can one-on-one.
So then how intentional are you with your content? Is every piece completely thought out way in advance, or are you more kind of on the fly?
So every piece is right now it's kind of on the fly just because my life is so hectic. So I don't have weeks of content planned out, but I'm very specific. So I would rather put out quality content 3 or 4 times a week than have to be every single day I have to put up a post, even if it's just a photo of myself with an inspirational quote. Everything I put up, I want it to have meaning and I want it to have purpose and I want it to be one of my pillars of your soul sexy. So whether it be nutrition, exercise, or something on the self-love, personal development side. So, and that will become, at the beginning of the new year, I'm launching my program, and that will be, I'll have a much more strategic content planned out for that. So I'm in the process of that right now. But right now it's just me running the show. I don't have any help. So sometimes it's just on the fly, but
yeah, there's always that period I notice where you're like on the cusp of getting help.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly when that happens, but I feel like I think you have to
get creative. I take that back. I just hired someone who's going to be helping me with my blog and staying on top of that. But, it's getting creative, like finding videography interns that can help you out, people that are willing to do it for free just for the experience. But yeah, bit by bit, because I just realized I was getting so overwhelmed and I couldn't do it all. In order to get where I wanted to be, I needed to invest in someone and find a way to make it work. Otherwise, I'm just going to be trudging along, staying right where I am 5 years from now. So
since this is called Beyond Influential, I figure we should talk a little bit about influence. Were you always kind of like, I don't want to use influence meaning sales, but were you kind of always able to influence your friends? When did you realize that you were actually able, like your message was actually translating to people?
My whole entire life, I've always been the go-to person for advice, and I've always been the motherly figure, and I knew that about myself. And even when I was younger, my whole life was about helping other people, whether it be running charities or, running after-school drives for clothing drives. I was always that person, and I was super level-headed and super grounded. I always, the shit that was happening in my life, I couldn't figure out, but other people I definitely could. It literally wasn't until I came to LA and started working in entertainment that I lost that side of myself. And it wasn't until my mom passed away that I realized, and I had to come back and finally be there for myself and figure out what I wanted to do. And it just hit me. I've known the entire time. The entire time was to help other people and to help other people through dark times, not even dark times, but help other people realize how special and unique they are. So it's always been something that's been hidden in me. It just took a long time for me to dive deep and figure out that purpose. But, unfortunately, sometimes you do have to go through really dark moments to get there. So that's the one huge blessing in disguise after losing my mom, was that the pain that I experienced was what truly propelled me forward and helped me find my purpose. And for that, I'm so thankful for my mom for helping guide me there. And, the stress that I have now as an entrepreneur is probably 100 times what it was working, for somebody else and working in the corporate world. But it's such a different stress because you're doing something for yourself.
It feels better.
Oh, it feels so much better.
I was going to say, I thought I was working at peak levels, working for someone else, but there's nothing when you're relying on yourself to get it done.
Yeah.
But there's nothing like it.
It's stuff that you love and you're making a difference. And so that's what really fuels me. So yeah. And for me, that's kind of like, that's the most important part about influence for me. And the people that I think are really going to win are the people that figure out who they are and on a deep level, seriously take the time to dig deep, figure out your soul purpose, and then use that to impact as many people as you can. And I think that's the most influential thing you can possibly be.
So here's a question that I ask everyone who comes on to this podcast. What do you think that the secret to influence is, and what makes someone influential?
I think one of the most important parts about being influential is just getting super clear on who you are and getting clear on your special, unique gifts that you have, and then using those to impact as many people as you possibly can, in conjunction with also being as open and vulnerable as you possibly can. Because I think the people that are really winning are those people that are open to sharing what really makes us human. And what really makes us human are those things that we're taught are good or bad. For me, when I was going through this journey, one of the toughest things was I was going through depression. I was going through grief. I was constantly putting on this strong face and really hiding what I was actually going through because I thought that that's what I had to do because society kind of teaches us that those things are bad. But in my opinion, those are the things that make us human, and those are the things that really connect us. And in my opinion, connection is really why we're here. Yet we're constantly taught to hide those things that really bring us joy and love. So to be super influential, it's really just speaking from your heart, being vulnerable, and finding that way to really connect on a more human level.
I think vulnerability totally breeds trust.
Yeah.
And authenticity breeds trust. And trust
authenticity is where you're going to win long term. So I think that's the most important part for being influential.
Well, where can people find you? Everything you just said was so awesome.
Thank you. I could talk forever. Yeah. Someone just needs to tell me to shut up sometimes.
Well, where can people find you now? And so your product is coming out?
Yeah, so you can find me. I mean, my website is yoursoulsexy.com. You can also sierranielsen.com. It's the same thing. And all my social media handles are at Sierra Nielsen. And yeah, the top of the beginning of the year, I'll be releasing my program. We're going to be starting with a free program for everyone to jumpstart, so everyone just could taste it a little bit. And then the 8-week program will be following that. So I'm super excited to release that and finally have a product out there to where I can help people, not just be limited to one-on-one in person. So
I'm so excited to see what the product looks like.
You.
I'm hoping to see even the first iterations.
Oh, you will be the first
end.
to see. I will definitely need your advice.
Yeah. And I mean, your story is amazing. I hope everybody go to Sierra's website and check out her Instagram, follow her on Instagram.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to, I will be launching, anyone that's listening to this podcast, I will be launching a beta version of that, hopefully by the end of November, and it'll be an 8-week thing before the initial one starts. So anyone that's listening to this podcast, I would love to have you guys on for free as part of the beta version. So...
Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you so much. I'm proud of you. Look at where we are.
With good lighting, I hope. Yeah. Okay. Join me next time on the next episode of Beyond Influential. Thank you, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you for listening to Beyond Influential. If you found value in this week's episode, please rate and subscribe on iTunes. I'd love to know who you find influential. You can let me know on Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Brittany Crystal, Krystle, or visit my website, brittanycrystal.com.
Beyond Influential.